Welcome back to the Muscle Maven. This is the first episode of our special three-part interview series with none other than the legendary Mike Mentzer, former Mr. America and Mr. Universe, and one of the most influential figures in bodybuilding history. Mike's been an inspiration to countless athletes and fitness enthusiasts, and today, we're diving deep into his journey, insights on bodybuilding, and what it really takes to succeed in this sport. So, let's not waste any more time, let's get started. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to have you here. Mike, let's kick things off with a big question. I know you've been in bodybuilding for a long time, but how did you first get introduced to this world? How did you realize that this was something you wanted to dedicate your life to?
Well, it's one of those proverbial, often heard stories in bodybuilding. I was at a drugstore with my mother in my hometown of Ephrata, Pennsylvania, and while she was off doing some shopping, I was looking over the magazines, and all of a sudden my attention was arrested by the sight of a muscle man. And I knew instantly, there was no lag time, this is what I was going to be, and it was a love affair, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's incredible. Just a single moment of seeing that image, and everything changed. Now, let's talk about something that often comes up when people talk about bodybuilding. What role do you think genetics plays in the sport?
It's very important. It's hard to determine exactly how important, along with motivation and the discipline involved, of course. I would say it's right up there, a prime determinant for sure. I think most sports tend to have certain body types that excel more than other body types. For instance, in basketball, either you're born 7 feet tall or you're not. In bodybuilding, the indices aren't quite as evident, but things like you mentioned, muscle belly length, bone size, and then one that's not so tangible is an inherited predisposition towards building muscle mass. And that's something you can't determine until you actually begin training. Some people, when they start training, grow almost immediately. Then there are other people who train for years and years, as you've probably seen in various gyms, who never grow at all.
That's a very honest answer. Some people just seem to have a natural advantage, huh? But Mike, I have to ask, there's a lot of talk about diet in bodybuilding. Some people say you can eat whatever you want as long as you're training hard. What's your take on that? How important is diet, really?
They're both 100% important. Years ago, there was a saying that diet is 80% of bodybuilding. But I don't think you can quantify it that way. You've got to train properly and you've got to eat properly. I think diet is important because one of the first requisites in being a great athlete is that you're healthy. And you've got to eat a well-balanced diet to be healthy. But I don't think it's any more important than that. Many athletes tend to overemphasize certain elements of diet like vitamins and protein. And again, the most important requirement is that you eat a well-balanced diet just so that you're healthy.
That's an interesting point. So, when we talk about the balance, what would a typical diet look like for someone training seriously?
Well, if you were to listen to the hucksters of the nutritional products, you would believe that your diet should be made up entirely of protein. But if you listen to qualified nutritional scientists, you'll hear most often that your diet should be 65% carbohydrates, 25% protein, and 15% fats. That's true for athletes and the average individual alike.
That's great to hear. Now, Mike, you've transitioned into being an athletic trainer. Is it satisfying for you to share all the knowledge you've gained over the years and help others build their bodies?
Yes, it is. I competed for, up to 10 years, and as you may know yourself, athletic training gets to be a little old as you get older yourself. But now I do enjoy sharing the knowledge that I acquired over the years of my own training with my clients, and it's very, very satisfying.
That's amazing. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers are curious, what should someone look for when they're trying to find a trainer? What makes a good trainer in your eyes?
Well, not necessarily his muscular development or even his athletic appearance. It's actually very difficult. Presumably the person's going to the gym because he knows little or nothing about training. I think the only way to do it would be to assess his general intelligence level and listen as to how well he explains the principles of productive exercise, as to whether or not he has a grasp of the principles of exercise.
This is just the beginning, folks. We've only scratched the surface with Mike Mentzer, and we're about to dive even deeper into training techniques, tips for building muscle mass versus staying lean, and a lot more. Be sure to stay tuned for the next episode in this three-part series, where we'll talk about the differences between endurance training and muscle growth, the role of steroids, and much more. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below with any questions you have for Mike. We'll be back next time with even more insider knowledge. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.